let's explain what do we mean by federal debt, and let's know the difference between the federal debt and the federal budget. Okay, so let's see. I want to first explain the difference between budget and budget. Federal debt. Okay, so let's say this. So let's say we have 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002. So let's say 1999, the federal budget is 10 million. I'm just giving any number just to make it easy for you. Okay, in 2000, now the federal deficit is 12 billion, 12 million. And 2001, the deficit equals 18 million. And then 2002, the deficit is 18 million. Okay, let's assume that 1999 was the first year when we have a federal deficit. Okay, so all these numbers are in negative. Okay, so if the federal deficit in 1999 is negative 10 million, and then if we go to the next year, which is 2000, and the federal budget still running into deficit of 12 million, so this we will add this 12 million to the 10 million from the previous year, so the debt will be negative 22 million, right? Okay, let's go to the next year, which is 2001. 2001, the government ran into another deficit of 18 million. We already have debt from the previous 2 years of 22, so we should add 22 and 18. So now the national debt equals 30 million. The next year, which is 2002, again, the federal budget runs into a deficit. So the national debt will be 30 plus 20 will be, so the national debt will be 50 million. Okay. So if I want to make it simple, so the national debt is simply the accumulated budget deficit. That's it. So we can write it by this formula here. So this is the formula for the national debt, as you can see here. So the debt starting of the next year equal debt at the start of the next year. Like for instance, the debt of in 2020 equal the debt of the previous year, which is 30 here. Okay, and then this is G. Okay, so any additional spending will be added to the national debt, and then minus receipt, which is usually the taxes, so government, and we deduct any revenues. So we add all the expenses and we deduct all the expenses. And also we add the interest on debt, because the accumulated debt from the previous years, so the government has to pay interest on such debt. So interest is going to be part of the expenses, so that's why it has to be added as one of the expenses for the current year. Okay, so this is the formula for to find out the debt. Now the next question is, how large is the national debt? You can see here that I included a couple of links. You can click on any of these links and you will find how much is the most recent national debt. But you can simply look to the national debt from the graph here, and also you will see that there's always a positive relation between the debt and the recession. So as you can see here, so this is during the World War II, there was this Great Depression, so that's why the national debt here peaked, and also here in 2007, 2008, after the financial crisis, so you see the national debt increase. But during expansion time, the national debt will decline. The next question is, how do the government finance a deficit? Like, for example, let's say you have your own business and your revenues are less than your expenses. So you are running into a deficit. So you can't continue running into deficit because you have your business. So you have to finance such a deficit. The same case applies for the government. So if the taxes are not covering the government spending, so this will lead to a deficit. Deficit has to be financed. So the question is how you will find how the federal government finance the budget deficit. Typically the government has two options: either to borrow from the public. Sometimes you hear the word treasury bills or treasury notes. So whenever I hear the treasury means it's issued by the federal government. So if the government borrow from the public, okay, the quantity of publicly held bond will rise. The other option available for the federal government to finance its budget is to borrow from the federal bank. This is actual data. So this is an actual data here. Okay. So you will see the public data, actual data on the public debt back to 2003 up to 2012. So the public debt, so as you can see, the number increased dramatically in 2008 and 2009 and 2010 because of the financial crisis, which led to the stimulus package. So as I said before, so any expansion of fiscal policy will have a negative impact on the national debt. This is what I have for this video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.